Gear whore! Gear whore! Gear whore! Hey everybody, this is Devin Townsend. Welcome to Gear Whore! Well, what is Gear Whore? I'll tell you, I've been doing this for many years, and the industry's changed in such a way that I'm very fortunate to receive a lot of gear from a lot of companies. And when I was younger, I used to think that this wasn't a reciprocal thing, it's just what happens. But that's actually not the case. Everybody sort of relies on each other. I rely on the industries that I'm representing to help me with my craft, and they in turn need advertisement. And so if I find a product that I really dig, then I'm going to use this opportunity to show you how I use it. And so that being said, today I'm going to show you the Evertune system. Now, Evertune is a guitar bridge, this thing here, that there's a lot of people that don't really fully understand what its use is. And what does it do? Well, honestly, you put your guitar into tune, you tune it up in a way I'll show you in a second, and then once it's in tune, kind of indefinitely, it stays in tune. And that's through the neck changing if you've traveled somewhere where the humidity is different, or extreme bends, or what's an extreme bend, or any number of things. It could be, you could have a neck that gets warped, or any sort of thing. And when people think about the Evertune system, a lot of times you think, okay, well, it's like a digital way of compensating for the tuning, because I know there's like a lot of things that do that, or a few things that do that at least. But the Evertune is completely analog, and how it works is, well, number one, it requires routing your guitar out. So I think there's a lot of people that maybe if you have like a Les Paul or a Telecaster, things that have like a solid body, you wouldn't really want to cut your guitar apart to put the Evertune system in. And the routing is similar to that, like a Floyd Rose. That sort of routing in the back gets done. And when I first heard about the technology, I thought, well, there's no way that I would ever do that to any of these guitars, like these frameless that I use or whatever. Frameless, gear whore. But after utilizing it live and in the studio, now I've got it in everything. And I can't tell you what a difference it's made to my recording and my live performance. I'm so over the top about being in tune, to the point of just OCD weirdness. And so now everything is constant. I haven't tuned this guitar, even for the sake of this demonstration. I haven't tuned it. It's been months since I tuned it. I had another one that fell from a guitar holder 6 feet in the air, hit the desk, and then I came in and it was on the floor. And when I picked it up, it was still in tune, which is awesome. So how does it work? So once it's routed out, the way that the Evertune works, and in my limited understanding of the technology of it, it's a series of springs that run on the inside here. And then when you've put it into the place and intonated it in the ways that you want it to stay, you lock it in with an Allen key. And then through all the things that happen, hell and high water, it compensates for the tuning. Now, a lot of people have said, well, you can't bend with Evertune, and that's totally not the case. But you can also have that as an option if you want. So I'll explain to you how it works. When I first heard this, my brain was confused by it, because I like to think I'm smart, but I don't think I am. Evertune works in something called zones, and there's 3 zones with the Evertune. So the first zone, and it's a weird terminology, but hopefully this will make sense. The first zone we will call the thing that happens, as opposed to zone. The thing that happens when you first put your string in. So you put it in the back like normal, or if you have it in the, I think they're all through the body. So you string it up, put it through your tuning pegs. Doesn't require any different tuning pegs. And zone 1 is this. You hear it tuning like any other guitar, right? Then all of a sudden it gets to the point where while I'm turning it, you see, the pitch stays the same. Zone 2. Then all of a sudden it's sharp. Zone 3. So, zone 2 is where all your work goes, where all the magic happens. Zone 2 exists for about 12 evolutions of your tuning peg. So in the middle of zone 2, like maybe 6 turns in, you'll see now, if I went to bend the string, the pitch doesn't change. See, I'm bending it like a lot. Like, let's see. See that? I'm bending the crap out of it, nothing. So what it's doing is it's compensating there. So that comes in handy if you're tracking somebody in the studio whose fingers, their intonation is poor or whatever. You can set all your tuning pegs into the middle of zone 2, and then basically you can stretch and bend and nothing's going to happen, and that's great. Now, to get it to bend, you go to the cusp of zone 3, cusp, right here, and you'll notice that when it starts to go sharp. There you go. And you back it off maybe 1 revolution. Now you can bend it, right? So I set all my strings to the cusp of zone 3 there. So down here on the Evertune Bridge, you'll see that there's Allen keys there, or holes for Allen keys there. There's holes for Allen keys in the back. And then here, you can't really see, but in there, right in there, are other Allen key holes. Now, what you do is once you've kind of got it into the middle of zone 2, maybe 6 revolutions in, this is where you tune. And you do that by sticking an Allen key into this part here on the top. And you tune it up to what you want. Make sure you're up with the tuner. Keep checking that through all the tuning here, you remain in zone 2, because you can keep tuning it as you go sharp. You may accidentally knock yourself into zone 3, and then it becomes a problem because you think you're in tune, but you're actually in zone 3. It sounds complicated. Once you get it down, it's perfect. It's so easy, but in the beginning it made me crazy too. So I tune it there, do my string height here, you do your intonation here, and that's it. And then once you're in tune, then not only are you in tune, but you're kind of indefinitely in tune. So in the studio, I make sure my guitars have got new strings and they're intonated and everything's good. And then it's always left in that tuning. So if I have inspiration, I never have to go through that thing where I'm like, oh, I got a great idea. I got to get my guitar in tune. You know, I have to get the intonation together. It's just always there, and I just grab it and go. And again, this guitar, I haven't touched the tuning of it since the last time I changed strings. I think this guitar, the last time it had a string change was on tour several months back, and I use it every day, every 2 days to record or to write. So there you go, huh? Right? My first gear horror video is a little awkward, but just you wait till I get comfortable, because holy crap, am I ever gonna try and hawk some stuff on you guys. All right, first one, Evertune, awesome. I use it all the time. You should too. It does change your tone in a real slight way because it springs now as opposed to a hard tail. I found that for myself, I had to adjust where my picking hand went just slightly, not a whole lot, but just because the physicality of the bridge is slightly different than like a Tone Pro's. I just found that where the sweet spot for muting was for me just was ahead, just a touch from where I was used to. But number one, the tone change is so slight, and the place where I mute is so insignificant in terms of adjusting my technique, and the payoff of never having to worry about tuning like ever it's a no-brainer for me. And these guitars that I've got are worth a lot of money, and like, you know, my old Les Pauls and all this stuff, I mean, I just did it, and I didn't regret it for a second. Last thing I'll leave you with the Evertune. I remember we did a show at Summer Breeze Festival in Europe, Germany, a couple years back. We had to fly in, the plane was late, we had to rush the gig. We went on at midnight, it was raining, everything about the gig was challenging. The guitars flew, and oftentimes you have to like detune the strings before you fly because the neck is going to move and shift according to altitude. We didn't do that. We showed up, the guitars' necks had shifted, all this stuff, but I basically took the guitar out of the case and went on stage, and it was still perfectly in tune. And for somebody who's professionally reliant on those little idiosyncrasies being in place, that consistency is it's just so good for me. There are guitars I have that don't have it on there because I do like having that as an option too, but 90% of my guitars now have the Evertune, and it's really one of the most important things that have come into my guitar world in a while. God, I'm talking a lot. All right, so for the next one, note to self, shut up. Good luck. That's like saying don't use echo. All right, see you next time. Woo!